So, how do you build a university that actually truly creates more entrepreneurs? I mean, it's a huge goal for schools everywhere, but what's the real secret sauce? Let's dive in and find out. When you picture an entrepreneurial university, you probably think of something like this, right? Super cool, bright open spaces, maybe some beanbag chairs, free coffee, lots of buzzwords about innovation. But are these things, the vibe, the awesome facilities, are they really enough on their own to turn students into founders? Well, that's the big question we're tackling today. Because it turns out there might just be a bit of a myth surrounding this whole idea. We're going to dig into some really fascinating research that put this exact assumption to the test. And trust me, the results are pretty surprising. Okay, so why are universities so obsessed with this in the first place? Well, it's all about something called the third mission. See, for centuries, universities pretty much had two jobs, teaching and research. But now there's this third one, to be an engine for the economy and society. And that means actively helping to create new companies and new ventures. And this isn't just some abstract theory. The research we're looking at is a massive international study. We're talking hard data from 79 different universities all around the world. So whatever conclusions we're about to see, they're built on a really solid global foundation. So the study basically boils this whole challenge down to two key ingredients a university can offer. On one side, you've got formal, structured training. And on the other, you have the supportive environment, or the climate. The big question is, which one actually matters more? Let's break them down. All right, so over here on the left, training is all the concrete how-to stuff. We're talking about courses on writing a solid business plan, workshops on real-world management skills, and classes that literally teach you how to spot an opportunity and build a professional network. Then on the right, you've got the environment. That's the vibe. It's that inspiring atmosphere, the startup competitions, the incubators, the general campus culture that just screams, yeah, go for it, start something new. Two very, very different approaches. Okay, you ready? This is the moment of truth. The researchers took all that data from those 79 universities to figure out what the real recipe for creating startups actually is. So first things first, let's ask the most basic question. Do all those classes, the ones on business plans and management skills, do they actually work? Does teaching people the how-to really lead to more people taking action? And the answer is a huge, unambiguous yes. The study found a direct, statistically significant link. When you give students formal skills training, you see more new businesses. It's that simple. The big takeaway here is teaching these skills really, really works. All right, so that makes sense, but what about the other side of the equation? What about that vibe we talked about, the incubators, the competitions, that whole inspiring atmosphere? If a university has a fantastic climate, but not a lot of that formal training, is that enough on its own to create more founders? And here it is. This is the big myth-busting moment. The answer, which is pretty shocking, is no. The study found zero direct link between a supportive environment by itself and the creation of new businesses. A great vibe on its own just doesn't move the needle. So what? Does that mean the environment is useless? No, absolutely not. This is where it gets really cool. The study found something called a moderating effect. The best way to think about it is like this. Skills training is the engine of a car. It's what provides the fundamental power. The supportive environment, that's like a turbocharger. Now, a turbocharger sitting by itself does absolutely nothing. But when you bolt it onto that engine, whoa, you get a massive, massive boost in performance. And this chart just shows that turbocharger effect perfectly. Look, an environment on its own, pretty low impact. Training on its own, yeah, that's got a high positive impact. But when you combine that effective training with a great supportive environment, the impact just goes through the roof. It becomes supercharged. It's so much more powerful than either one alone. The whole is way, way bigger than the sum of its parts. So what does this actually mean for us in the real world? This isn't just some dusty academic theory. It gives us a crystal clear blueprint for action, both for students who want to become founders and for the universities that want to help them succeed. Okay, so if you're a student, here's your game plan. First off, go find those formal training courses. The data is clear. They work. Focus on learning practical, hands-on skills, how to write a business plan, how to manage a project, how to network. Don't just hang out at the cool innovation hub and soak up the vibe. No, get the skills first and then use that awesome environment, all the events, the competitions, the mentors, to amplify and apply everything you've learned. And for the universities out there, the blueprint is just as clear. Your number one priority has to be skills-based training. And here's the key. This training shouldn't be locked away in the business school. It needs to be available across engineering, arts, sciences, every single department. And yes, absolutely build that supportive climate, but you have to understand its role. It's a powerful catalyst, not a standalone solution. It's the turbocharger, remember? Not the engine. You know, what this research really does is force us to rethink how a university can best achieve that third mission. It's not about choosing between skills or culture. It's about deeply understanding how they absolutely must work together. I mean, this quote from the researchers just sums it up perfectly. A great climate doesn't just create entrepreneurs out of thin air. Instead, it acts as a catalyst. It takes all the potential that was built in the classroom through formal training, and it helps transform that potential into real-world entrepreneurial action. And that really leaves us with one final huge question to think about. If this combination of practical skills and a supportive environment is the most powerful formula we have for creating new ventures, then maybe entrepreneurship training shouldn't be some niche subject anymore. Maybe it should be a core, fundamental part of every single student's education, whether they're studying poetry or physics. It's a pretty fascinating thought to end on. Thanks for watching.